We have Marko Baricevic from Binary Builders. And we have Robert Zaremba from Umee. So great to be here with you guys. So I have some questions ready. Rumeel, I'll start with you.
What?
Mic is open or not?
Yeah, I think it's on.
Maybe you guys want to introduce yourself a little bit, what you do in each of these positions.
So my name is Rumeel. I'm working in a BNB chain as a senior solution architect. So my core responsibility is about the development, ecosystem building, development of our new initiatives, and the project support for the project side. This is what I'm doing, yeah. Thank you.
Awesome, I'm Marko. I'm from Binary Builders, the Cosmos SDK product owner. My role is kind of everything, product, project, some architecture, some code, and having fun with the community, which is the most important part.
Hello everyone, I'm Robert from Umee. I'm the tech lead, and we at Umee are the biggest Cosmos native money market, and our goal is basically to scale up with IBC and build with IBC to be the leading IBC money market provider across all the chains.
Amazing. Rumeel, I want to ask you, can you provide an overview of how Cosmos SDK is being leveraged in the BNB chain to drive innovation, scalability, interoperability?
So basically in 2018, BNB chain was launched, Binance DEX, which was leveraging the best SDK of the Cosmos SDK side. At that time, the Cosmos SDK was very good in about creating the governance and the staking part one. So we have created in 2018 Binance DEX, okay, which is you're utilizing the Cosmos SDK. But later on in 2020, the industry was required about the EVM compatible one, so we decided to go with the EVM fork of the BNB Smart Chain, and we used the BNB Smart Chain, which is previous called the Binance Chain. So it was utilizing the EVM one, but because of the popularity of the Cosmos SDK, we have used to Cosmos SDK for the staking and the governance purpose one. It was what we have did into the Beacon chain and the BNB Smart Chain one. But recently, and the last month, we have launched our decentralized storage solutions, which is BNB Greenfield. BNB Greenfield is based on the Cosmos SDK, and which is utilizing for staking and the storage provider services for the Cosmos SDK. So Cosmos SDK basically playing a very important role for the BNB chain ecosystem as well, and the development part of the new blockchain initiatives, like I mentioned about the decentralized storage of the BNB Greenfield. So yeah.
And Robert, I wanted to ask you, in a landscape of multiple blockchain networks, what is the key differentiating factors to make Umee, and also for you, Robert, Rumeel, BNB chain use Cosmos SDK instead of other alternatives like Ethereum, Polkadot, Optimism?
Yeah, that's a good question, in fact. Especially this year when there is a big narrative growing for layer 2s, and like many people are like asking about what makes more sense, yes? Like picking back on the Ethereum ecosystem, for example, and build layer 2 and like depend on like the whole stack over there and probably additional complexities, or yeah, build their own layer 2 from scratch, or maybe like a Cosmos chain, as like I hope most of us are doing here. So for us at Umee, the main decision maker was really IBC, and the vision that we want to be like seen and perceived as an independent sovereign entity who can make their own decisions in a way how this can scale, how we can like really be sovereign for the money markets. There is also like a big factor for it when we talk about like a financial ecosystem across and beyond the DeFi. So like being sovereign and being able to like really control how the transactions can be processed, kind of transactions can be accepted, yes, it's a huge factor, right? You cannot easily do it on other chains. You would need to like introduce maybe some kind of a whitelisting or other stuff. So our vision is really here, sovereignty and an IBC. And probably also like here, especially for financial markets, when there is something wrong, yes, you always want to be able to, let's say, roll back or maybe stop and make some decisions which, okay, could be drastic, but necessary, yes, for the integrity of the services around the world. So imagine that you have some failure. Cosmos guarantees us that if there is a consensus error, yes, that the chain will stop, and this is probably better than basically like continue the failure and going into the wrong direction. Also, if something is wrong, we can roll back. Good luck if you want to roll back Ethereum. It happened once, and people still talk about it. And in Cosmos, this happened many times, and it's kind of like our style of life. And yes, we accept it, and I think we should be proud of it that we can do it, right? This is like, the world is not like binary. Sorry, Marko.
No, it's all good, all good.
What would you say as a builder of the Cosmos SDK? Like, what would be the advantages for the teams to build in this tech stack instead of like OP?
So I think what like really sets the Cosmos ecosystem and the interchain stack apart is it doesn't differentiate between your consumer chain or you're on your own. It's really just an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem of ecosystems essentially. And so when you come to the Cosmos ecosystem, like if you go there, like I've played around with different stacks. As everyone knows, like I have a lot of friends in the Substrate ecosystem. I've built stuff there. I've played in Solana. I've played in Near. Like played in a lot of different ecosystems. And when it really comes down to it, it's the Cosmos SDK. While it is written in Golang and everything else is Rust, and everyone loves Rust, the Cosmos SDK is somewhat more freeing in what it can do, and the support you get isn't limited to the consumer chains of the hub, because it's like that's what like pays the bills. It's really, hey, if you have a question, if you need help, we're there for you. And then the Cosmos SDK, it's really one of the few generalized frameworks. Now there's more coming out, things like Sovereign SDK, that's more generalized, but in the Substrate world, or the Polkadot SDK as they are just renamed, it becomes, hey, like you can use it, you can use this framework on your own, but we're gonna support the people that are within the Polkadot ecosystem. Like I believe like Avail and the Lambda class people for the Starknet sequencer don't get much support from the Polkadot ecosystem. The ICF like subsidizes the builders program, subsidizes all this like extra tech support for the entire ecosystem, not just the hub. And then the tech stack is like really freeing in what you can build with it. So you can really change stuff out, and we're trying to make that stuff easier. But not only like we don't want to tie people down to like building a chain. We want to allow people to really do roll-ups, like decentralize your security, but keeping the sequencing centralized, but decentralize your execution and your data availability. And there's different trade-offs in all those areas, and we're trying to accommodate those different trade-offs to be able to enable more users.
And Rumeel, I wanted to ask you, because recently you launched your L2 on OP stack, so you're playing a little bit of both sides. What do you think? It's like it's better to not close to one ecosystem, or?
Technically, it's under the umbrella of BNB chain. Okay, so if you check about the BNB chain under the umbrella of BNB chain, we have multiple blockchains. So BNB Smart Chain, which is based off the EVM compatible one. BNB Weekend Chain, which is Cosmos SDK, which is responsible for staking and the governance part of the BNB Smart Chain side. But meanwhile, we have a decentralized storage, which is completely based on the Cosmos SDK, and it's utilizing all the storage providers, and it has on its validator set as well. So it's utilizing the Cosmos SDK part one. Fourth one that we have is about the OBNB, which is the best on the OP stack side. It's also the EVM compatible one. So we are giving the leniency to our project partners, our ecosystem, and the community to use whatever they want. But the backbone of the BNB Greenfield is about the Cosmos SDK, and for the Beacon Chain is also about the Cosmos SDK.
I mean, I do think, just to add on into there, I do think like the choice for the OP stack in their use case is perfect. Like I don't want to say that like you should have used the Cosmos SDK, yes, because in some areas where the OP stack excels at today, we are playing catch up. And in those areas, like today, the OP stack is the perfect alternative, probably one of the best, if not the best alternatives for the specific use case of like the EVM for like the OP BSC, I think it's OP BSC chain.
OBNB.
Okay, OP BNB chain. And so it's like, there's the perfect use case for that. Like we're working with Polaris and Evmos to really optimize the EVM story in Cosmos, because it has been somewhat, not haphazard, but it's been a ongoing story since basically the beginning. And so we really want to hone in on that story to be able to offer and be able to compete with OP Stack there with the EVM story. But today, it's the best alternative.
I think it's also worth to note that, like, if you want to talk about layer 2s, then Cosmos SDK, or in general, like the Cosmos stack, I think it's the only stack with like solid, let's say, adoption that provides the whole spectrum, right? You can use let's say, the Cosmos stack to make your own layer 2. This is what Celestia with the Rollkit and various other frameworks are doing, without, in fact, changing the model on the way how you design and code the business logic. Right? You can run EVM, you can run CosmWasm, WASM contract, you can run JavaScript, you can run, I don't know, there are many coming, I guess, Move is coming, right? Really, like, you have the building blocks to build everything. If you want to do layer 2, if you want to change, if you have your Cosmos chain and you want to change, and then, like, instead of being like independent and get the security from the Atom Economic Zone, you can. If you want to get the security from Ethereum and be the layer 2, you can, without like rebuilding everything.
Right. And Rumeel, can you tell me how has the Cosmos SDK contributed to the development of new features or functionalities on the BNB chain?
Cosmos SDK plays, as I mentioned, we have recently launched our testnet of BNB Greenfield. And by end of this month, hopefully, that we are going to launch the mainnet of our BNB Greenfield, which is the decentralized storage part one. So the BNB Greenfield have its own validator set, which is based on the Cosmos SDK governance and the staking modules one. Cosmos SDK also playing a role into the BNB beacon chain sideward that is creating their own liquid staking one and some other things that they have. Also, we are leveraging and we are envisioned to use the Cosmos SDK cross-chain communication about the wallets, about some DeFi tools and others for the beacon chain side. So Cosmos SDK actually is the main tool for the BNB smart chain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as builders, what would you say, Robert, for example, what are the technical challenges of integrating or building with the Cosmos SDK?
Yeah, it's a good question.
You have to be careful what you're saying.
I was the core developer in the Cosmos SDK team. So yeah, I mean, I think like it's a pros and cons at the same time, that you need to like there are many entities, independent entities with a variety of use cases, right? Like how they want to manage the block space, the block production, authentication, right? So if you want to be like on the top and see what's happening, it's like a massive undertake. The amount of things which are basically happening is huge, right? So being up to date nowadays, it's really hard. It's much easier, in my opinion, yes, to build something, let's say, on Ethereum, even though there have like more apps, but the stack is smaller, right? In the Cosmos world, because like the stack is huge and we can really do all these different things, and if you want to like think about ideal solution, then probably it's harder. Yeah, so that's kind of like one of the challenge. But on the other hand, like I said, it provides you more flexibility. Also, yes, like with a great power comes a great responsibility. So like managing your own chain, of course, it's adds like more work to do. Yes, need to deal with validators. I mean, shout out to our validators, everyone. Thank you. Our validators are awesome. And yes, dealing with chain upgrades, I know it's not easy, but in a world where we want to like really have a decentralization, both on the nodes, on the, let's say, API, RPC, application logic, then I don't see any other solution, to be honest.
And Rumeel, what about you?
I can add on this part one that once the new feature is going to be added, that there is a complete hard fork that we have to do for the Cosmos SDK side. It's quite challenging and it requires a lot of efforts. Second thing that we have recently saw is about the Cosmos SDK has launched the X circuit breaker. It was launched, but it was reverted, so there was no complete roadmap for it that when it will be. So it's better there if there is a complete roadmap of the product that we have launched this feature, it will be there, and we are going to revert these are the reasons. So these are the some challenges that we have faced, but overall it's a good one. Yeah.
It's, I mean, like, I'm not gonna say like you guys are wrong or anything because you guys are right. It's like I'm not only like a software developer on the SDK, but it's like I go and use it and I go help teams.
Yes.
And we try and really understand like the pitfalls and the headaches. And I think right now, like before, it was a bit harder like to push API breaking changes onto users because it was kind of like it was unclear the direction that the SDK is going. And now I feel like with the roadmap that we put together, I feel like everyone's kind of like more understanding of the direction we're trying to take. And there are like API breaks, but we are trying to like really listen. So it's like I remember I talked to the BNB guys a couple of months ago about the greenfield, and I read it, and I read the blog post about it and everything. And then the first thing that came to mind was, okay, like we have to spend time and like redo our storage because if they're using the SDK, like we need to make it as efficient as possible. Right now, like state grows fairly quickly, not necessarily because like the state within the modules, but like how everything is stored on disk. And so we really wanted to spend time optimizing that. Now we're rewriting that. A lot of the ideas stem from the work Robert did last year or 2 years ago. And so we're doing that. And so we're really looking at the users that are coming next, and also really looking at the users today and seeing like what are their current problems. We at Binary also run validators, and so as a validator, we also understand like the node operator overhead, the storage, and so many times I understand that like validators like hit their head in a wall, and it's like I'm there with you guys. Like there's so much stuff that I'm like, okay, like we need to just fix this because it's like it's been a complaint for months, possibly years. Let's just do it and like let's just fix it and like actually help the ecosystem.
So you have channels to listen to the complaints of the devs?
I mean, for me, it's like, I kind of live by the philosophy, it's like if someone's saying you're doing a good job and no one has feedback, then something's wrong. It's like either they're afraid of me or something else is wrong. And it's like when someone's like, oh yeah, you guys are doing a good job, like, and I'm like, okay, what's the feedback, criticism? And they're like, we don't have any. I'm like, okay, thank you for your time, but I'm looking for someone to say that we're not doing a good job, we want this, we want that, because that is like, it's gonna help us further.
100%.
Yeah,
Rumeel,
that's the case of like dealing with so many entities.
Rumeel, how has the adoption of the Cosmos SDK influenced the growth of BNB chain ecosystem, developers, projects, users? How have you seen that activity?
Yeah, so basically BNB chain envision to use the Cosmos SDK and to about the decentralized governance part one. Second thing about the building devs on Cosmos SDK and the cross-chain devs about the other chains as one side. So these are the three that it is in our roadmap, and we are working on it to cross-chain by using the Cosmos SDK to the other chains part.
And Robert, what do you think about this? Like, has Umee been able to, do you think, attract more users, devs, and activity in general thanks to the Cosmos SDK? If it had chosen another ecosystem, for example?
Yeah, that's like something that comes back every month or every quarter. Like, you know, we know, I mean, everyone realizes that liquidity is, I mean, the amount of liquidity we have at Cosmos is just a drop of the amount of the liquidity we have in Ethereum, right? So there is no doubt. And do we want to compete with it, or do we want to like leverage it, right? So for us, like we really want to focus on like providing a good ways, and again, believing and trying to use and going with the direction of IBC to leverage the liquidity across different ecosystems, hopefully also, let's say, work with Binance to not fractionalize. Like you can copy, let's say, the money market in every single chain and every single smart contract platform, and even on the like once, let's say, EVM chain, you can have multiple of them. Yeah, so I don't, in our vision, yes, we see that it's more value rather to allow to manage it, to rule them all, I would say even, rather than like compete. So that's something that eventually our like a North Star is like showing us the direction.
I'll just add it quickly into that, but 3 years ago, like everyone could raise money just by saying, we're building on Polkadot. A year and a half ago, everyone could raise money saying they're building in Cosmos. Today, everyone can raise money saying they're building on the OP stack. Next year, it's going to be Starknet or Arbitrum, Orbit, or like whatever. And it's like if VCs, first of all, keep investing money in where the team is building, then you're not investing in the actual product. You're just investing because they are in that location. And so I think it's like the whole blockchain space needs to like actually focus on building a product instead. And I think like Summerlay is like a really good example. Like they have users, their TVL is consistently growing day over day. I think they just passed the 40 million TVL. This is a Cosmos chain that the whole Ethereum space doesn't know that it's Cosmos. It's just a product with good yield. It's safe, and no one really cares what is the back end. And that's really the future that I believe we should really go into. Like, who cares? Like, the end user shouldn't care if you're using OP Stack, Cosmos, Polkadot. Like, it's all good technology. It's all a good back end. But like, we're shoving it down people's throats when the person just cares about, does the product actually work?
Yeah. If I may add something also here. I mean, we need to realize that the narrative of layer 2 is not proven yet, right? Like, only this year, or maybe last year, yes, with Arbitrum and Optimism, like, the applications are coming to the layer 2, right? But is there really a killer app in the layer 2 stack? I don't know. Like, what we see that most of the layer 2s are general blockchains. From the user perspective, it doesn't change much because most of them are EVM, right? And the only way how they specialize is how they interoperate with Ethereum. I mean, is it like, you know, optimistic, ZK, or whatever else is there? Or proof of authority, right? The case is that Cosmos proved that the narrative of specialization, yes, upchains. Yeah, so we have a general blockchains, we have specialized blockchains in the Cosmos ecosystem. Of course, they are not that big as we see like many examples in Ethereum, but you know, this works somehow. Layer 2 so far, I don't know, like, is there any like a layer 2 which is like, you know, showing up a specialized layer 2 for a single purpose?
I mean, in the Cosmos ecosystem, or like Celestia would
No, but is there like a one working today?
I
think it's not.
Yeah, everyone's kind of generalized. I mean, actually, Zora that's built on the OP stack is like an NFT focused.
Okay, so we'll see.
Yeah. So there's something, yeah.
And one of the core principles of Cosmos is interoperability. So how is Umee BNB chain utilizing the Cosmos SDK to facilitate cross-chain communication and interoperability with other blockchain networks? Maybe Rumeel.
So for the cross-chain communications one that I mentioned that we are using for the BSC and the beacon chain one, the Cosmos SDK modules that we are using in the Greenfield one, we are also using one. But the thing is that how we are communicating with the cross-chain dev site one, that it is in our roadmap one, and our target is that to envision the industries and dev sites one to leverage the BNB Greenfield and about the Cosmos SDK part one.
Okay, I'm going to rush a little bit because we're over time, but I wanted to ask Marko about, are you thinking like as a developer of the Cosmos SDK, like beyond the, like talking about OP, like this communication beyond like facilitating it out of the box, beyond like IBC?
Yeah, I mean, so we're working with the Celestia team to how to bring rollup communication to IBC. And we're diving into that, and we might help like write some of it. But at the end of the day, it's like really like if the SDK support is there for rollups and the IBC is not, and the team doesn't want to do something like pessimistic, where it's like you're at the mercy of the sequencer, then the team, the application developer, will need to think about using different bridges. We're hoping not to go in that direction because the Cosmos SDK and the Cosmos ecosystem selling point is IBC. And so we're working with the IBC team, with Celestia and other teams to get that really rolling out of the box as soon as possible.
Nice. Well, thanks for the time. Great conversation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.